Welcome to another video in our series about the common fallacies and tactics committed by adherents of the dogma of religion and the dogma of the state. And this is something referred to as the statement of conversion fallacy. Basically, here's someone who used to be on your side who isn't anymore.
Here's someone who used to be an atheist, now he's a Christian. What do you have to say to that?
Really? Do you have any idea what a yawn that is for us? I mean, it happens all the time on our side. We have atheist after atheist after atheist who used to be Christian or Jewish or Muslim or whatever. Someone says they used to be religious but are now atheist. We say, cool, we should hang out sometime. But what do religious people do when they get a convert from atheism?
Yay! We got one! We got one! Whoopee! Let's take him around. Get him in churches. Get him on TV. Get him a book deal. We finally got one!
You know what that says to us? It says that it is such a rare event for an atheist to convert to a religion that you have to seize on that unique opportunity. Whereas on our side, it happens so often that running into an atheist that used to be religious is a commonplace occurrence. So think about that next time you want to push this person in our faces, as if it somehow proves you were correct all along. We have a lot more examples of people converting our way. So maybe you don't really want to play that game, huh? Just a bit of advice. What's more interesting is when we run into the person who says that they personally used to be an atheist, but it's something like this.
I used to be an atheist because I hated God and wanted to sin.
No, people aren't atheists for those reasons. If you tell us that you used to be an atheist, and for the reasons why, you run down the tired old list of straw man arguments for why people are atheists that no one who wasn't already on your side believed for a second, then don't be surprised when we doubt that you were ever really an atheist after all. We see it with related subjects like evolution.
I used to be an evolutionist until I found out I was lied to. Then I found God.
Pro tip, people who accept evolution as scientifically valid don't call themselves an evolutionist, or Darwinist, or any of the other monikers you put on us. We don't really have a word for a person who believes in evolution. We accept gravity too, but we don't say we're gravitationists or Newtonists. If you want us to believe that you accepted evolution, you have to demonstrate that you actually know something about it. Don't give us all the long debunked crap from creationist talking points like how evolution is a dog giving birth to a cat or how it violates the second law of thermodynamics or whatever. Again, if you do that, don't be surprised if we don't believe for 1 second that you ever accepted evolution. Why on earth would you people think that just making up the fact that you used to be on our side would be persuasive? Even if it is true, it actually tells you nothing about whether or not evolution is true. The scientific evidence does that. Also, this is another case where the fact that there's more than one religion comes back to bite you. One atheist converts to Christianity, and this is proof that Christianity is correct. Another atheist converts to Islam, and this is proof that Islam is correct. But how can they both be true? And then you have the tug of war of Christians converting to Islam, Muslims converting to Christianity. How can conversion be any kind of evidence when there are all of these contradictory conclusions to draw from it? No, this is just another argument from self-authority. But there is one point that religion has over the state here. They can actually point to verifiable examples of proper atheists converting to Christianity. They've even got a Wikipedia page for that. Statists don't seem to be able to do that. They don't point to a libertarian on the order of Murray Rothbard or Harry Browne giving up their libertarianism and converting to statism. If that ever happened, then for whatever reason, the statists are keeping it secret. Oh, but there are no shortages of individual statists who claim that they used to be libertarians, and like the religious people who claim to be atheists or evolutionists, it just doesn't ring true.
I used to be a libertarian, but then I learned to care about others. I used to be a libertarian, but then I grew up. I used to be a libertarian back when I was selfish. I used to be a libertarian, but then I went to college and learned reality.
And you really think that this is supposed to convince us? Or how about this?
I used to be a libertarian, but then some libertarians were mean to me.
Really? That's the criteria you use to find out the truth? Who's mean to you? And like religion, we run into stuff like this.
I was a libertarian because I believed in social Darwinism.
When, if anything, social Darwinism is the antithesis of libertarianism. There's all sorts of crazy things like this one, almost verbatim from Salon.com.
I was a libertarian back when I had a limited vision of the future.
Or this one, again almost verbatim from Salon.
I was a libertarian because I thought that selfishness and cruelty were fantastic personality traits.
Or this one, almost verbatim from Salon. Wow, a lot of these guys are on Salon, aren't they?
I was a libertarian until I realized knee-jerk anti-government sentiment was not a viable political philosophy.
Oh? Well, good thing that's not what libertarianism is! So again, don't be surprised if we think you're just cooking this up as a lame attempt to convince us of what? Again, why should we be convinced by conversion and not by facts or rational argumentation? And you also have the same problem as the religious, of there being more than one political philosophy.
I used to be a libertarian, but now I'm a liberal. I used to be a libertarian, but now I'm a conservative.
Okay, so which is correct? Liberal or conservative?
I used to be a liberal, but then I grew a brain and became a conservative. I used to be a conservative, but then I grew a heart and became a liberal.
See? It doesn't work. There's no consistent conclusion that argument from conversion can point to. I have something to say to both the theist and the statist. I did used to be on your side. There was a time when I was a very devout Christian. There was also a time when I thought government could solve our problems. I believed in a lot of the causes of progressive liberals. I was a big advocate of the Americans with Disabilities Act, for example. So in both of these issues, I am a convert. But have any of you ever seen me use that as an argument? Rational people aren't convinced by other people's conversion. Religious people are. And that's the real issue here. Christians try to convince us by trotting out converted atheists because that's what will convince them. And by the same token, statists pull this I used to be libertarian crap because, being no less dogmatic than the Christians, that's what will convince them. And the fact that it doesn't convince us is taken as just more proof that we're unthinking automatons blindly marching in lockstep with each other. But if it's fallacious reasoning, and it is, then no rational person should be convinced by that. And we aren't. And the ones who would expect us to be, therefore cannot be rational. The conclusion's pretty obvious, isn't it? Stay tuned.